there was always so much East Coast, West Coast shit that's still like in the zeitgeist, you know, like with Biggie and Tupac, and they were all hating at each other, and they both got killed, and there was a lot going on. And then there's people that thought that Puffy was involved and Suge Knight was involved.
Because the internet is saying Joe Rogan just made a comment that reopened a whole different lane of questions. And suddenly, Ellen DeGeneres is back in the conversation in a way that's making people uncomfortable.
What time would your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really? That early?
Yeah.
I could make that.
Yeah.
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like, what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
Uh-huh.
No, it'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, you know, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then No, I mean the after party.
Mm-hmm. No, I know.
Welcome back to Celeb Reel. So here's what's happening. While the Diddy headlines have been flooding every feed, the timeline is asking one thing louder and louder. Why does it feel like certain names are being tiptoed around? And Ellen's name keeps popping up in the background of these discussions, even when nobody says it directly.
All right, we're back with Sean Diddy Combs. Is it Diddy today? Because sometimes you're Puffy and sometimes you're Diddy. Or sometimes you're Daddy. What are you today?
I'm so confused today with it. As long as you say it in a nice way.
All right.
It's just like...
Yeah.
Once the Diddy story exploded online, people did what they always do. They started digging. Old interviews, old clips, old jokes that used to feel harmless suddenly don't hit the same when you rewatch them with today's context.
Where are you going after this? It's all 20s. Where are you going after this? What are you doing?
You know we doing what we plan to do, girl.
That's where the Ellen clips come in. Fans have been reposting moments of Ellen and Diddy on her show, laughing, comfortable, trading party talk like it's nothing. But now people are rewatching those same segments and saying the vibe feels different.
So tell me about your birthday party. Am I invited?
Yes, you're definitely invited. I invite you to all my parties. You just haven't seen the show up to.
No, well, is it on the East Coast?
Yes.
Well, that's why. Why don't you have one here on the West Coast? Because I work all the time.
Okay, well, maybe I have one at your house.
Where's that?
Like the laughter is covering something. Like the jokes land more like hints than punchlines. And that's why the internet is spiraling. When the public conversation flips, the past gets rescored.
Oh boy, Ellen, I love you. I know you didn't ask where I've just come from, but I just got off a plane. I'm on tour. I just did 5 nights in a row. And I just made it here, and I love you.
I love you too.
What used to be funny TV becomes, wait, why did they say that? Now the question is this just the timeline reading too much into old clips? Or were some of these light moments always darker than they looked? And here's where it gets even spicier. Because the internet says Joe Rogan didn't just mention Ellen. He basically called out the silence around her.
Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody. Genuinely love it when someone like Diddy gets caught, though. I mean, he had a lot of people at those parties, right?
I was never at Diddy's party. I don't even know the motherfucker.
We're out
I
here
don't want to know nobody.
telling jokes.
Nobody.
The way people are framing it, Rogan's point was simple. Ellen had Diddy on her show more than once, and the whole party talk vibe wasn't a one-off joke. It was on camera, casual, comfortable, almost too comfortable. So now the timeline is treating those old segments like puzzle pieces. Not proof, but breadcrumbs. And when you step back and look at how quiet it's been around Ellen's name, the silence starts sounding loud. Like, is this just bad timing? Or is this one of those topics nobody wants to touch? And it gets weirder when you remember how Ellen's public image already cracked.
As you may have heard, this summer there were allegations of a toxic work environment at our show. And then there was an investigation. I learned that things happened here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I am so sorry to the people who were affected. I know that I'm in a position of privilege and power, and I realize that with that comes responsibility, and I take responsibility for what happens at my show.
Her show didn't end in a neutral way. It ended after that toxic workplace scandal that flipped the entire Be Kind brand on its head. Then, not long after, Ellen and Portia moved to the UK, and she tied the move to the political climate back in the US. But online, people didn't read it as lifestyle. They read it as timing, like a signal, like a step away from the spotlight right when the spotlight was changing. Coincidence? Maybe. But audiences don't always buy maybe, and that's exactly why they keep pulling up old clips, old interviews, and asking what was really going on behind those studio walls.
I've said it before, but I'll say it again. If I've done anything in the past 19 years, I hope I've inspired you to be yourself, your true, authentic self. And if someone is brave enough to tell you who they are, be brave enough to support them, even if you don't understand. They're showing you who they are, and that is the biggest gift anybody can ever give you. And by opening your heart and your mind, you're going to be that much more compassionate. And compassion is what makes the world a better place.
And before we even go deeper into what Rogan said, here's why Ellen's name won't stop resurfacing in the first place. When that BuzzFeed News report dropped about the Ellen DeGeneres show, it shattered her image overnight. Former staff described intimidation, racism, and a toxic environment, the kind of workplace where people felt like speaking up could cost them their job.
You're neat, though, right? I would imagine your closet is color coordinated. Everything is hung in a certain,
Yes.
right? So you're neat. It's just that you're not the person that puts it back. All right.
What really stuck with people was the irony. Ellen's brand was built on kindness, but the behind-the-scenes stories described pressure, fear, and control. The backlash got so big that executive producers were removed, and Ellen addressed it on air. But even after the apology, the public never fully let it go. And the debate basically came down to one question. Was it just a few bad people? Or was it the culture? Ellen said she didn't know everything happening backstage. Some believed her. A lot of people didn't. Either way, that spotless image never recovered. So when the show ended and she said it wasn't challenging anymore, fans side-eyed it hard, like the trust had already snapped. Now this is where Joe Rogan's take really stirred the pot. While discussing Diddy, Rogan pointed out something that's been hiding in plain sight. How casually celebrities used to joke about Diddy's famous parties, like it was a flex. Everyone laughed back then, but with the current context, those old jokes don't land like jokes anymore.
If you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave. You gotta keep them there. You need locks on the doors. You need a lot of heat. You don't have no air conditioning. Heat affects the alcohol. Everybody gets a little bit more comfortable and loose. Builds up a nice little sweat. You need some good music.
Rogan didn't sugarcoat it. He brought up names, like Ashton Kutcher and other A-listers, who've laughed about Diddy's parties for years, like it was some VIP badge. Then he made the point that hit harder. A lot of that party talk happened in plain sight on one of the biggest platforms in daytime TV, Ellen's show. His message was basically, how do people joke about these circles on national television, act like it's no secret, and then later claim they never saw anything?
This leads me to the perfect thing, because I would like you to clear something up. There's a lot of talk going on with Chris Brown being at your place in Miami, and you arranging Chris and Rihanna getting back together. Now, you want to talk about that?
See, I wouldn't use my Twitter to talk about that because that's somebody else's business.
I know, but you gave them your house.
Yeah. But we're talking about Twitter.
Yeah.
This is how you use Twitter, and that's something else. I'm just saying I wouldn't really Twitter about that.
Okay, let's not Twitter about it. Let's talk about it.
Okay. Can we dance?
Yes.
I would like to dance.
Dance. Do it. Make it.
Because the allegations we're hearing now paint a totally different picture. And it makes those old laughs feel weird. And there's one clip in particular that won't stop resurfacing. Ellen's 2018 interview with Diddy. In that moment, Diddy invites Ellen to his parties and jokes that she never comes. Then he adds the detail that the parties start early, but the real party kicks off later, around midnight, up on the top floors. Ellen laughs in a way that viewers swear feels like an inside joke, like she knows exactly what he means. Now, to be clear, that's interpretation, not proof. But that's why the clip keeps getting replayed. People feel like the vibe is too familiar. And this is what Rogan says makes it strange that Ellen's name stays on the edges of the conversation. Diddy was on her show multiple times, and the party jokes weren't a one-time slip. They were almost a recurring theme. Then the internet did what it does and dug even deeper, pulling up older interviews too, including a 2002 Conan O'Brien clip where Diddy joked about needing locks on the doors at his parties, which, in today's context, is landing very different than it did back then.
Now, first of all, you can make someone famous overnight just by sampling their sound. So I could get you a copy of that, and then you could just see what you want to do with it. Maybe that slides in someplace real nice, you know what I mean? Okay, let me ask you for some advice here, because clearly I need some.
Huh, what was that?
I'm the human beatbox!
Back then, those old clips played like harmless party humor. Now, people are rewatching them and saying it doesn't feel funny anymore. It feels eerie, like a clue everyone ignored. And once those clips started circulating again, the question shifted fast. What did Ellen actually know, if anything? And why is she completely silent? Then the internet pulled up more fuel, like a 2016 tweet where Ellen jokingly gave Diddy a cutesy nickname, plus a few resurfaced moments where she gets asked about him and allegedly dodges. Some viewers swear her body language looks tense. Others say that's a reach and anyone would look awkward when caught off guard. Either way, the combo of silence, weird timing, and old jokes is what's making people side-eye harder. Rogan's point stays simple but sharp. If you were close enough to bring someone on your show repeatedly and joke about that lifestyle on national TV, people are going to expect you to say something when it turns serious. Not because that proves guilt, but because when the jokes start sounding like confessions, in hindsight, silence starts looking like strategy. And in the court of public opinion, that's when things get ugly.
What are you holding there?
I'm holding my package.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do.
Rogan's argument is that the silence from Ellen and from other big names who were once publicly in the mix is exactly what makes this feel suspicious from a public perception angle. Because it's jarring to watch people joke about someone for years and then go totally quiet the moment the story turns serious. But there's another layer that explains why Ellen's name keeps getting pulled into this. Her workplace scandal already trained the public to associate her brand with a specific dynamic: fear, pressure, and silence. Former staff described an environment where speaking up felt risky. And online, people keep comparing that vibe to what they believe happens in elite celebrity circles, where reputation is everything and silence is survival. To be clear, none of that proves Ellen did anything criminal, but it does explain why people keep connecting her to this conversation. Because once the public sees a pattern, they stop watching moments at face value. They rewatch, reinterpret, and start reading every laugh, every joke, every pause differently. And one of the biggest contradiction moments fans keep dragging back up is from 2009, when Chris Brown was accused of attacking Rihanna, and what certain celebrity platforms did or didn't say at the time. Back in 2009, Ellen actually pressed Diddy on air about why Chris Brown was staying at his house. Afterward, she took a strong public stance, saying she didn't want any woman thinking it was okay to go back to someone who hurt her. At the time, it played like a clear moral line: accountability, safety, zero excuses. But now, viewers are rewatching that moment and asking, how do you go that hard about accountability back then and stay completely silent now, when serious questions are swirling around circles you once joked with on TV?
So what do you think? Rihanna went back to Chris?
Ellen,
Is that a good or bad move?
I'm not taking a picture.
move.
Okay.
It's a bad move.
Thank you.
Any advice you want to give to her?
Thank you. Okay, hold on.
Not really.
All right, then.
Then the workplace scandal only amplified the hypocrisy narrative online, not because it proves criminal behavior, but because the contrast is stark. One minute it's be kind and protecting women on camera, the next minute former staff are describing fear, pressure, and a toxic environment behind the scenes. And then the move to England added more fuel. Reports said Ellen and Portia sold their Montecito home and relocated to rural England, with Ellen publicly tying it to the political climate in the US. But online, a lot of people weren't convinced. To them, the timing didn't feel like a lifestyle choice. It felt aligned with the moment Diddy's situation was blowing up, and people were clocking who stayed loud and who went quiet. That's when the rabbit hole got even darker, not because facts changed, but because the internet started filling in gaps with whatever sounded shocking. At one point, a wild rumor circulated claiming Ellen had an arrest warrant linked to Twitch's death, and that some secret recording was played in court. That story was quickly debunked as false. But what stood out wasn't the claim itself. It was how fast it spread. People weren't even stopping to ask, is this real? They were asking, does this fit the narrative? And once someone's reputation is already cracked, their name becomes a magnet for conspiracy-style storylines. Anything dark, anything Hollywood secrets, anything that sounds like a missing chapter. It sticks, even when the facts don't support it. That's the real danger here. Rumors move faster than truth, and once trust is gone, debunks don't travel nearly as far as the original claim. Even Ellen leaned into that in her Netflix special. Acknowledging how the Be Kind girl wasn't kind headline became part of her public identity. It was her way of admitting the damage, but it also reminded people just how hard that narrative follows her. What really had people locked in during Ellen's Netflix special wasn't even the jokes. It was the tone. She talked about ego, exposure, and how hate always screams louder than love. She said this industry has extremes. One side idolizes you, the other side hates you. And somehow the hate is always louder. But instead of sounding like accountability, a lot of viewers heard deflection. Like she was still processing the backlash, not truly owning what happened. And that's why the debate flared up again. Because when the emotion feels distant, people read it as denial. Then the internet got a fresh trigger. A viral moment started spreading, claiming NFL star Aaron Rodgers went on Joe Rogan's podcast and made a wild comparison involving Ellen's old set and Epstein Island. Rogan reportedly pushed back immediately, saying it looked like a common LA-style building and that people were reaching. But here's the point. Even the fact that this kind of conversation is happening tells you where Ellen's reputation sits right now. Her name gets pulled into conspiracy maps, not because there's proof, but because the internet loves a cinematic storyline more than it loves patience. And once that machine starts spinning, every clip becomes evidence. Every rumor becomes context. And the web keeps growing. So what are people really reacting to here? The facts? Or the feeling that powerful people never fully answer anything? Once that LA building debate started circulating, the internet did what it does best, turned it into a full-blown theory factory. Some people started claiming Ellen knows something and is conveniently living in England while Diddy faces a federal storm. Others took it a different way and said Rogan was just voicing what people have been thinking. Why do some celebrities get dragged nonstop while others get a softer edit? Then the body language clips resurfaced, Ellen dodging questions, looking nervous, looking guilty. And to be clear, that's not evidence. That's perception. But perception is gasoline online, and it's exactly what keeps comment sections burning. When you scroll through the replies, you see the same narrative being stitched together. The toxic workplace headlines, the apology people didn't fully buy, the move overseas that gets treated like a signal, and now the Diddy situation sitting on top of it all. And underneath all of it is one core feeling people can't shake. Ellen never truly faced consequences the way others did. So they're hunting for a deeper reason why. Which brings us right back to the question from the start. Why does it feel like people avoid saying Ellen's name out loud when Diddy comes up? A lot of people think Ellen gets handled differently, not legally, but socially. Like, even after leaving TV, she still has the kind of name, money, and connections that can soften how the industry talks about her. And that's why Rogan matters in this story. He doesn't really follow the unspoken Hollywood rules. He'll say the quiet part out loud, not to declare guilt, but to challenge the silence. And once a platform that big treats something as a real question, the audience runs with it. But to be clear, the controversy isn't Ellen is worse than Diddy. That leap is reckless and unfair. The real thing people are arguing is simpler. Why do some celebrities get grilled nonstop while others get handled with kid gloves, even when there are old clips, quotes, and moments that look strange in hindsight? That's why this conversation won't die. The Diddy scandal didn't just create headlines, it triggered a rewind. Now people are rewatching old interviews, rescoring old jokes, and treating them like clues instead of entertainment. So, what's next for Ellen? Probably a quiet life out of the spotlight. And as for Diddy, that legal storm isn't going anywhere. Even when the headlines slow down for a week, the process keeps moving. Filings, hearings, civil suits, new claims, new names getting dragged into the orbit. That's how Hollywood's rumor machine works. Once the internet smells a story, it doesn't stop spinning. And the Diddy case is the kind of story that keeps echoing, because it's not just tea. It's real legal pressure, real allegations, and a federal-level investigation that has already rattled the industry. When reports say authorities raided properties as part of that probe, it didn't just shake Diddy's circle. It made everybody start asking who else is connected, and who's about to get pulled into the next headline. Diddy's team denies wrongdoing, but the reputation damage is already loud. Brands back away quietly. Friends stop showing public support. And that silence? It feeds the suspicion, because people read it as protection, not distance. And that's exactly why Ellen's name keeps getting recycled into the conversation. Her image took a hit, her show ended, and she's been low profile ever since. Fewer appearances, more privacy, more out of the spotlight. But even with that distance, the internet keeps looping back to her, because in this era, once the public decides something feels off, they don't need proof to keep questioning. They just need a pattern they believe makes sense. And here's what makes this whole thing stick. Every time a new Hollywood scandal breaks, Ellen's name somehow gets pulled back into the mix, almost like her downfall became the blueprint for how fast public opinion can flip. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan keeps stirring the pot on his podcast because he isn't operating with the same PR filters. He'll say what a lot of people are thinking but won't touch out loud, and that's why his clips go viral so easily. So as the Diddy legal storm keeps unfolding and more names keep getting mentioned online, the focus is shifting. People aren't just asking who's guilty anymore. They're asking who's protected. And that's the question haunting Hollywood as 2025 closes out, because sometimes the silence around certain names says more than any headline ever could. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Ellen's being unfairly dragged back into the spotlight? Or is the public right to keep asking questions Hollywood avoids? And with Diddy's case still active, do you think more big names get pulled into this next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The strongest take gets pinned. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we're posting new celebrity deep dives daily, and the next update could flip the whole conversation again.